Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today we're taking a look at the American Blade Works Model 2 in Magna Cut, also in titanium here in this case. I'm not sure if they make these in other handle materials besides tie, but regardless, that's the one we're looking at today. As I said, you do have Magna Cut, titanium handles. You can see how this fits in a large size hand here. Room to choke up there on this like semi choke up point. Really it's just like a sharpening choil flipper tab situation, but you can choke up there. Some jimping on the back that is okay. Should be a little more aggressive to provide ample grip. Pretty sliding on it pretty much, but it's not awful. It just could be better. The action's good on this guy as well. And before I continue the video, I want to apologize if you hear any noise of the AC or the car running here. It's hot, so I have to run the AC and everything, and I'm trying to film these as I'm leaving work, so I don't want to take too long on these. So hopefully you guys don't have to sit through this for too long. Flipper only on this guy, and the detent is nice and stiff, so this thing fires out. I'm sure you can hear that. It's loud. It echoes in the car even. And yeah, if you guys can't tell, that is a very solid deployment. The action itself is on bearings. It's maybe a little bit tight like this. I didn't try loosening the pivot or anything. There's no blade play. Something that you might notice is that I am only using the bottom portion of this lock bar. And the reason for that is really my big negative with this knife is that it double clutches. See that? There's a detent ramp on this. So you'd think it would drop past the detent ball, but it doesn't. You still have to push it past before it can shut. And with where the lock bar is located, it hits your thumb, and you get to flick it shut, and sometimes it reopens. Just like that. Trying to flick forward to flick it closed, ends up opening the knife the rest of the way. So you have to watch out for that. I wish they would redesign the location of the detent ball relative to the detent hole. That would solve their problems. They could just move it slightly on future models and have no issues with that, or they could really work on that detent ramp that they have, and it would be totally fine. But it's an existing issue that bothers me, so something that probably bothers a lot of you as well. This does have a flat grind on it. It comes to a pretty thin edge. It's going to be next to impossible to show you this, but it gets pretty thin. It cuts really well, that's for sure. This Wharncliffe style blade is nice and utilitarian. It cuts really well. This is almost identical in blade shape to the QSP Penguin, and I'm not comparing those two knives, just shape wise. It's very similar. This is a little more angular versus the more rounded Penguin. And this, of course, is a much better knife than a $30 Chinese-made knife. American Blade Works, of course, made in the USA. This is full titanium handles as well as the pocket clip. This has titanium liners, I believe. If they're not titanium, then they are steel, but I do believe they're titanium. And you have a tie backspacer as well. And in case you didn't know, it does say made in the USA here on the pivot. It's probably not going to focus very well, but it is what it is. Magna Cut is stamped across the blade right there. I kind of wish they didn't mark it there, but it, can't do much about it. There's a flipper tab, so they can't mark it there. And they could have done it on the spine, I guess, but I don't know. I would like to see the steel marked somewhere else, maybe in an area that you can only see once the knife is closed, or once the knife is partially open, somewhere, in like this area right here. Would have been nice to see it, because then you don't see it when it's closed and you don't see it when it's open. But that's just little nitpicky things. Overall, this is a really great knife. American Blade Works has always done a good job. I'm just not a flipper only guy, which is why I don't own one. I briefly owned a Model 1, I believe when they were on version 2 or 3, and I think they're up to V6 on the Model 1. So they've constantly been making improvements. It's been known as like the Flipper TRM Atom, similar cutting of capabilities, though this does have thicker blade stock and a shorter grind, so it's not going to be quite as slicey as a knife like that. But nevertheless, these are pretty damn good and are American made, which is great. It's nice to see companies that are not your typical Benchmade, Spyderco, Hinderer, CRK that are making high quality knives here in the US. So it's super nice to see. And that's about all I have to say. So please check out American Blade Works ABW. This again is the Model 2 in titanium. They also have a Model 1 in both a drop point and a Warncliffe as well. So keep an eye out for those. I believe these are semi-regularly available. They do drops. I don't think they're always in stock, but definitely keep an eye out on their site. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.